Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're kind of taking a sledgehammer to reality, or at least to how we think about data, as we dig into one of the most bizarre source files we've ever come across.
It's an investigative report.
Right, about this alleged music project called Borg Bastion.
And our source file for this is file number BBHT 0514201 ARM135. It's dated May 14th, 2001.
And that designation, the ARM135, that sounds official. That's not just some random note.
No, it suggests a formal report, probably with some kind of security clearance. And our mission really is to unpack the central problem in this file.
Which is?
The investigators found verifiable facts, real-world crises, digital proof, but it's all wrapped up in this package of, chronological impossibilities in what looks like straight-up science fiction.
And that's really the core of it, isn't it? The whole reason that report even exists. The authors say flat out that nobody really knows who or what Borg Bastion is.
The claims go everywhere, from AI collaboration to things that seem to be rooted in the 1940s.
We're trying to analyze evidence that just doesn't follow the rules of computer science. So, okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with the one thing the report could verify with, total certainty.
The music.
The music.
Yeah, the artifact that actually held up. The investigation confirmed a set of 13 tracks. You can find them right now at borgbastion.bandcamp.com. The album is called High Tension.
A complete work. 58 minutes and 15 seconds.
And it's all there.
And if you look at the track listing, the names alone, they kind of foreshadow the whole crisis we're about to get into.
It's not just a collection of songs.
No, it reads like a story. You've got titles like The Confirmation, The Time Loop, the Mobius Protocol.
Which is a clear reference to an infinite loop, a surface with only one side.
Exactly. Then you have the Jason agenda and this really structured set they call the Triad.
The Lunar Defense, the Luinear Deception, and the Lunar Skywave.
It all suggests some kind of organized systemic conflict. This isn't just art for art's sake.
And what's really fascinating here, that report points this out specifically, is a structural anomaly in the track list itself.
The asterisks.
The asterisks.
Yeah.
Tracks 1 through 4, and then 6 and 7. So 7 tracks total, all have 2 asterisks next to them.
And the meaning is just question mark.
In the 2001 file, it's marked significance unknown.
So we have to speculate, right? If the songs are about loops and protocols, maybe those 7 are the core of the loop. The ones that are, chronologically stable.
That's a very strong possibility. It could be some kind of key, a classification system that Borg Bastion uses. Maybe those 7 are the foundation, the things that trigger the rest of the narrative.
Whatever it is, the investigators thought it was important enough to document, so they saw a deliberate pattern.
And that deliberate pattern, it goes way beyond just Bandcamp. The report lists dozens of specific URLs.
All over the place.
Yeah, across multiple video platforms. We're talking YouTube, Rumble, but also places like DTube, FairTube, even Play TV Parlor.
Wait, Rumble and DTube. In a report from May 2001, some of those platforms wouldn't exist for, another decade?
That's the thing. That's part of the anomaly. This isn't just uploading a few tracks. This suggests a highly organized, decentralized campaign. Incredible foresight or something else.
So the digital footprints are undeniable. We've verified the tracks exist, but the tracks are just the starting point. The second you start looking at the people involved, that's when this stops being a digital mystery and starts feeling like a real-world tragedy.
Which brings us to the human side of it all. Documented in these raw email excerpts.
6 names.
6 names pulled from the email sources. James Fedimore, Rick R. Hansen, Mike A. Montgomery, Daniel S.F., Benedictus Armilius Monk, and a Johann Joshua.
And Johann Joshua is the name on the Bandcamp account. He seems to be the one writing these emails, signing them John.
Right. And John's messages, they paint this picture of sudden escalating danger, and the enemy, as he sees it, is technology itself.
The urgency is it's immediate.
The first email talks about Mike A. Montgomery. He'd been arrested. And according to the email, he's blaming bots, AI cyborgs for setting him up.
And he's not taking it well.
No. John writes that Mike is vowing vengeance and wants to go blow up cyborgs. This is a man in serious immediate trouble.
And it wasn't just a physical arrest. The same email says James Fedimore's accounts were being hit.
Systematically. 5 or 6 files a day marked for deletion. There's a digital war happening at the same time.
And then the timeline just gets tighter and tighter. The danger ramps up.
The next email is shorter. It's just John getting more isolated, more scared. He says, I tried emailing Wick and haven't heard back. Called and he won't pick up.
The network is breaking down.
It's being dismantled, yeah. or targeted.
And this is where it gets really dark, the last message to Rick.
He just writes, James's car just blew right the F up, and he tells Rick they need to get the F out of town, and that he can't reach their other friend Ben either.
Wow. Now, the report specifically calls out the realistic urgency of these emails.
And I want to pause on that because that's such a key point. The report sees this realistic urgency, but the context is cyborgs and AI deleting files.
Right. How do you square that? How did they confirm the reality of a car bomb if the source is from some hacker's weird server?
And that's the thing. The report is very careful. It doesn't explicitly verify the bomb itself within this file. What it verifies is that the digital trail, the email headers, are authentic to when they were found.
And that the language used, the raw panic, is objectively real no matter what the cause was.
Exactly. They conclude that a genuine human crisis was happening. It forces you to take the context seriously, even if the enemy sounds completely unbelievable.
But even with that real-world violence, the entire foundation of this data starts to crumble when you look at the timeline.
Which brings us to the next part, and this is where it just gets impossible, the temporal anomaly. The report just labels it unresolved.
I mean, can you imagine being an investigator trying to write a report on evidence that breaks the laws of time? The document lists these two huge contradictions.
So, contradiction number one. Those crisis emails we just talked about, they feel completely modern for the time.
Right, for early 2001.
But the report says they were found in a server database that was designated for the late 90s.
That's a small jump, but it's weird. It's the first crack in the foundation.
But the second contradiction is just, it's staggering. A lot of the project files, the music, the videos, whatever, they seem to be archived from data that goes all the way back to the 1940s.
And just to be clear, we're not talking about, like, a scanned photo from the 40s.
No. We're talking about the electronic files themselves. The digital structure looks 21st century, but it's carrying what appears to be genuine 1940s metadata.
Which is physically impossible. You can't have a modern data structure originating before the tech to create it even existed.
And the report has this chilling line. It says their IT department cannot comprehend or understand the electronic dates they are seeing.
The rule book is just out the window. If you can't trust a timestamp, you can't trust anything.
The only clue that points to maybe a larger timeline is actually inside the music data.
Right, one of the track descriptions.
Yeah, for She's an Alien, which is listed as Chapter 13, it explicitly gives a future date, December 20th, 2025.
So we have data from the 40s, a crisis in the 90s or 2001, and a clue pointing to 2025. The whole thing is unstable.
Completely.
So if the data itself is that strange, let's talk about the context it was found in, because the surrounding lore is, frankly, utterly absurd.
Okay, so the source origin. This whole 6-gigabyte archive was apparently hacked from a server that was hosting something called NORAD illusions.
And the hacker himself is like a character out of a comic book.
Calls himself Dr. Diffusion, supposedly operated from 1995 to 2005, then just vanished.
But the weirdest part is how he claimed he stored the data.
He'd saved these 1.4 gigabyte batches on these small 80mm DVDs from 97 and then hide them inside hollowed-out cryptic books.
And this is where it stops being a story, because the investigators actually found one of these books.
They did. And this specific example they give is just, it's astonishing. The file archive was inside an old German cookbook.
German village cookbook from 1968.
But it gets better.
Of course it does.
The title page had a picture of the actor Armin Shimmerman.
Quark from Deep Space Nine.
Glued to it. And underneath it was signed, and I'm quoting here, "You should try the Apfelkuchen mit Quark. With love, Captain James Tiberius Kirk."
You cannot make this up. It's so ridiculous. We're looking at a deadly crisis, a temporal paradox, based on a file hidden in a cookbook signed by Captain Kirk referencing a Ferengi.
It's profoundly ludicrous.
But that detail, honestly, it makes me trust the report more. It's too specific and weird to be invented, which leads us to the big paradox the investigators hit on.
Exactly. The report is very clear on this. It calls the lore ludicrous, absurd, but in the next breath, it stresses that, quote, "What has been investigated and verified has turned out to be accurate and true."
So it forces you to question everything. If the core facts, the music, the violence, the time confusion, if all that is verifiably true.
How can you just dismiss the frame story, the Quark and Kirk stuff? How can you say it's irrelevant?
You can't. It suggests the fiction and the facts are tangled up together. The absurd container has been proven to hold a verifiable and terrifying reality.
Which means we have to accept the possibility that this whole Borg Bastion project,
Yeah.
it isn't just about time travel and AI. It might be part of a curated narrative that's designed to look both factual and fictional at the same time.
So, okay, we've reached the end of the evidence. We have a real album, a list of people in a real crisis, and an impossible timeline where the 1940s meets 2025. What does it all mean?
Well, the report itself kind of hints at a final provocative thought that tries to tie it all together. It mentions the rumors that floated around about Dr. Diffusion, the hacker.
That he wasn't just a hacker.
Right. That he was the time traveler, or that he was hacking into systems that were not yet existent. Now, these are just rumors, not verified, but they offer the only explanation that even begins to make sense of the temporal chaos.
And it all builds to one final, completely unverified rumor that the investigators still felt they had to record.
Yes. The rumor is this. The cyborg captain is aware of all this, but it is not verifiable, and may be an event yet to occur, or one that has occurred numerous times already.
The cyborg captain. Maybe a nod to the Captain Kirk signature? It implies there's someone else, some higher-level observer just watching this reality loop over and over.
The facts are true, the lore is ludicrous, and the time frame is completely irrelevant.
And that leaves us with a pretty stunning thought for you to think about. If verifiable evidence, like this music and these emails, can defy chronology and be hidden inside something so absurd, how do you ever determine what's a real clue and what's just a distraction?
Is the whole pursuit of knowledge here just tracing a loop that's already finished maybe dozens of times?
Yeah.
And is this cyborg captain just the audience for a tragedy we've all seen before?
Yeah.
We've been given the puzzle pieces, but the picture on the box is from the past, the present, and the future, all at once.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the decoding of the Borg Bastion. We'll see you next time.